to series 7 on playing over changes. So far we've played over C, C major 7 or 9, C7 or 9. Okay, now that's going to be a recurring theme as we go along. If we have a 7th chord there, it's likely we'll be able to add a 9th to it in most situations, as we've said before, as long as it's relevant. The next chord we come to is F. Now really with this it's relatively straightforward, I think, given the obstacles we will have negotiated to get to this point, that we can think, well, okay, we need to be getting to something fairly close to where we're playing. In other words, geographically we don't want to be going miles. So I'm going to take I'm going to give a suggestion here, which is to say, well, okay, we've been playing across C major pentatonic and some extensions and bits and pieces around that area. So it seems to make most sense if we're going to play to an F that we use this one, which is sat fair and square in the middle of all that stuff. So, okay, what are we going to do with it? Well, I think primarily we want to be thinking about the arpeggio, because the sequence we're in is really going to be very much an F major sort of sound. So again here we can use a major pentatonic with a little bit of our major scale thrown in. Now if you've done some of the work on playing in C and using it with the C scale, then playing in F and using it shouldn't be very difficult. Okay, that seems like that's going to work fine. So the real question is, what happens after that? And for that we need to be thinking about, well, once again, chord shapes. This is an F minor this time. And I think with this we've got to be a little bit careful. It's rather an odd situation because of where the F sits in relation to the C. We have quite an interesting selection of harmonies. We have this, potentially. Okay, now that may not seem to make loads of sense when you hear it on its own, but if you hear it in the key of C, so okay, easiest thing to do here is to think about your F scale and just drop that third back. Okay, now the next chord in the sequence, and this is really important that you actually link these two. It's very important not to play this on its own. We've effectively got we've got an F scale here with the third of it dropped. Now that may make things a little complicated if we don't on it too long, because this is what's known as a jazz melodic minor scale. Now we're not going to delve into that very far at all, except to say that if we're playing over F minor, that's not really the right sound for this song. So really what we need to do is to be thinking, well, okay, let's pay due attention to C, but get that A flat in there. Yeah, now sometimes it's nice just to have a little trigger in your head as to why something might be the best thing to play and where to find it. And I think with this particular change, the easiest way to frame it is to think actually of Oasis. Now, you might not immediately associate Oasis with a minor chord with a major 7th in it or a jazz melodic minor scale, but it does crop up in what do we get? Hear that? There it is. Okay. So that's really the first chord we've had to exercise any great amount of thought about. Most of the time we can play over chords which will fairly readily be described without without having to make life too difficult for ourselves. However, that F minor is a really interesting exception. More about those as we come along. So that'll be the drill for this particular section, working on the idea of playing over F minor going to C. Okay, F going to F minor I don't think is particularly hard for you to do. Not very difficult, okay. But trying to get that to resolve nicely into C is a little bit more involved. But I also think there's a sort of an artistic point to this, which is because the F minor has quite a morbid sound to it, you have to kind of almost celebrate getting back to the C in the way that you play it. So suppose I went, you know, I want to make it very clear that I'm happy to be back in C after having left the F minor. Okay, well look, that's it for this particular segment, so I'll be back with the next one very shortly. Plenty to get your teeth into there, and if you could press the subscribe button, that would be great. And in the meantime, thanks for watching. So bye for now.